Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of digital fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn, and we are back at it with another standard deck tech. This one is straight out of early access for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I never thought I'd say those words out loud, but here we are. This deck is called Go Ninja Go. It is Ninja Tribal. We're in Esper. It's absolutely nuts. Ninjas are so pushed. You guys might remember a little card called Kaito, Bane of Nightmares. It would have been an insane card if there were good ninjas in Standard back when it released. Well, guess what? Now there's incredible ninjas in Standard, and that card is absolutely busto. Being able to get an emblem that buffs your whole team every single turn for no mana is just gnarly. On top of that, there's a ton of new cards in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that bring ridiculous ninja synergies. We're going to dive in, we're going to go over the entire deck, and then we're going to get into the gameplay. Before we do, please like the video, please subscribe, all of that stuff helps me so much, and we've got a bunch more deck techs from early access on the way, so look forward to that, and without further ado, let's dive in. Alright, so ninjas are absolutely cracked now, and I don't even think that this version of the deck is the ultimate, fully evolved version of what ninjas can be, but it is a damn good starting point, and we got some pretty crazy wins. So first of all, before we get into the new cards, I just want to point out how crazy Kaito Bane of Nightmares is. When this card first came out, the only thing really holding it back was the fact that there weren't really any good ninjas to use with it. Even with there being barely any ninjas in Standard, this card was still pretty decent and could put in some pretty crazy work sometimes in the right deck, in the right scenarios. A 4 loyalty planeswalker for 4 mana, you can ninjutsu it out for 3 mana. On your turn, he's a 3/4 ninja creature with hexproof himself, so he'll pick up all of the synergies from your other ninja tribal stuff that you have in the deck. And then you can +1 loyalty to get an emblem that give all of your ninjas a +1/+1 buff. If this guy stays on the board for just a few turns and stacks up those emblems, the deck just quickly gets out of control, and it's really hard for your opponent to come back from. On top of that, he's also got a 0 loyalty ability that allows you to dig for cards, and a -2 ability that allows you to have some pseudo removal potential. He's just a great card that is now finally seeing his full potential realized now that ninjas are real. That being said, let's move on to the new cards, the most important of which is one that might have been overlooked. It's just an uncommon, and it's technically not a ninja itself, but it creates ninjas, and that's the Last Ronin's technique. This card is the real deal. I expect this card to be pretty much everywhere in most creature-based white decks in Standard until the end of time. It is an instant for 4 mana, but you're never actually playing it for 4 mana. Although it is cool that you can play this at instant speed for 4 mana if you're in a situation where you're not able to sneak it out correctly. But for Sneak 2, only 2 mana and bouncing something back to your hand, you create 3/1/1 ninjas that are also attacking that turn. The important thing here is that they are attacking that turn, so basically they have haste, and they're ninjas, so they pick up all of your tribal buffs, which means if you have Kaito out and you've already upticked a couple times and got a couple emblems, these things are swinging as 3/2/2s or 3/3/3s or even bigger right away. On top of that, you can get even more value off of returning the right card. If you return something to your hand that you want to replay to get you more value, you get even more bang for your buck when it comes to casting this for its sneak cost. But it gets even crazier because Kaito is not the only thing that's buffing up all of our ninjas in this deck. We've also got 4 copies of Splinter, Hamato, Yoshi. An uncommon, it's a 1/3 legendary mutant ninja rat for 2 mana. It has sneak for just 1 black mana. It has menace, and other ninjas you control get +1/+1. So it's basically a ninja lord that can come out for just 1 mana and has menace and has a decent enough toughness that it's a little bit harder to kill. Not every piece of removal is going to be able to kill it. Some of the burn spells can't touch it. And if it starts to get beefed up with other ninja tribal benefits so that it gets stronger itself, this thing can be really difficult to get off the board, buff your entire ninja force up, but more importantly, it comes out for just that 1 mana, and again sneaks, returning something to your hand, and sometimes that's going to be valuable. Even though this is legendary, we are running all 4 copies because we want to make sure we consistently hit it. That being said, future versions of this deck, if they do become more evolved and there are other really good card choices, I could maybe see this coming down to 3 copies, but I definitely think it's going to be a staple of the deck from this point moving on. Another really crazy card in this deck that is a staple is Dark Leo and Shredder, a 1/3 Mutant Ninja Turtle human for 2 mana in the colors of 𝐒𝐿𝐍. It sneaks out for 2 mana as well. Attacking ninjas you control have Death Touch, and whenever Dark Leo and Shredder deals combat damage to a player, you create a 1/1 black ninja creature token, and then if you control 5 or more ninjas, that player loses half their life rounded up. Rounded up is key, so if they're at 1, they will just die, which is awesome. This card is just so much better than it looks on the surface, and it makes sense that it's a mythic. Being able to sneak it out at just the right time and surprise your opponent by giving everything on your board Death Touch all of a sudden after he already blocked a bunch of things is pretty gnarly. But the fact that you also get to make tokens every single turn, those tokens count as ninjas and pick up all your tribal buffs, is just nuts. And then if you happen to have 5 or more ninjas, which this deck can do pretty easily, they're just going to lose a bunch more life as well. Just so much value packed into this card. It is nuts. But let's talk about the rest of the deck. Let's start at the bottom of the curve. First of all, we have 8 1-drops so that we can consistently get on the board with a ninja on turn 1 and start to enable some of our sneak cards. We've got 4 copies of Leonardo, Leader in blue. This one's really important because it's a 2/1 for 1 that comes down on turn 1. It's got a little bit of extra versatility in that you can pay 2 mana to give it first strike until end of turn. Sometimes that will matter. But what this is great for is it has a sneak ability for 5 mana, and if its sneak ability, if its sneak cost was paid, creatures you control all get +2/+0 until end of turn. So a lot of times what you'll do is you'll start with this out on turn 1, and then later in the game you'll sneak something onto the board in order to return Leonardo to your hand, so that you can then sneak Leonardo out for 5 mana and get the buff on everything. So you kind of get to have your cake and eat it too. You get an early Savannah Lions with upside that can still go back to your hand later and give you all of the sneak value, which can be just really, really crazy. We also have 4 copies of Prehistoric Pet. This is mostly just in here as a 1-drop ninja that can enable all of your sneak stuff, but also just be an early ninja that can pick up all of your ninja tribal benefits and smash your opponent in the face aggressively. It can't be blocked by creatures with greater power, which means if you're up against the right deck, it's just going to get through for damage automatically and make it easier for you to sneak things, which is really, really nice. And then you do have this extra ability here, which isn't as useful in this deck, but still sometimes can come up. 2 mana, tap it, return another target creature you control to its owner's hand, activate only during your turn. So you get to bounce something back to your hand if for some reason you need it back in your hand and you aren't able to efficiently get it back to your hand by sneaking something out. Like maybe Leonardo is stuck there and you don't have a sneak card in your hand and you have a ton of extra mana, nothing to spend it on, you're out of gas. You can use Prehistoric Pet to bounce Leonardo back to your hand and sneak him out during the next combat to get that buff and maybe win the game. So there is a little bit of extra value in that ability, but most of the time this is just a really efficient 1-drop ninja. It's going to pick up all of your tribal benefits, and it's sometimes going to get through unblocked because of that ability and enable all of your sneak stuff. Moving on to the 2-drop slot, in addition to Splinter and Dark Leo and Shredder, and of course sneaking out the last Ronin's technique, we also have 2 copies of Leonardo Cutting Edge. I wouldn't fault you if you bumped this up to 3 copies because it's just that good. A 1/1 legendary mutant ninja turtle for 2 mana. It sneaks out for just 1 mana, which is nice. It has a lifelink, and whenever you gain life, you put a +1/+1 counter on Leonardo. Now, this card is so much better in a deck that has a ton of life gain, and I think in future versions of this deck, I would probably run, what was the name of that card? The enchantment, the 2 mana enchantment that gives a lifelink and ward 1 and exiles something. For some reason, I'm drawing a blank right now. I use it in almost every white creature deck I've ever built, and I'm just drawing a blank on the name. But that would be a lot better with this because of the lifelink. You can enable more things to gain life and get you more +1/+1 counters, but this is good enough to use even if you don't have a ton of lifelink in the deck. Just sneaking it out as a ninja that's going to pick up all of your ninja buffs for just 1 mana. Just a 1/1 lifelinking ninja for 1 mana that picks up all of your ninja tribal benefits is kind of good enough, especially when there are things in this deck that you want to return to your hand. But the fact that it will sometimes get bigger off of gaining life, it can get bigger when it deals damage itself because of its own lifelink, all of that is great. It's even better if you're in a deck that's built around lifelink, and we do have another deck we tried during early access that is a life gain deck. I think life gain is actually positioned really well in the format right now with this new set, and I'm excited to show that one to you guys, but that's not what this deck is, so let's get focused here. So Leonardo, super awesome. We also have 2 copies of Super Shredder, speaking of super, a 1/1 legendary mutant ninja human for 2 mana, has menace. When another permanent leaves the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Super Shredder. It triggers off your opponent's stuff dying, it triggers off of your opponent's trying to use Sneak or Nurturing Pixie or anything like that. More importantly, it's going to trigger off of you sneaking your own stuff. Even though it's not dying, your stuff isn't dying, it's still going to trigger the Super Shredder. You'd be super surprised how big this guy can get and how quickly he can get there. Even in a deck like this that isn't 100% built around making things leave the battlefield constantly, there's enough just in it incidentally that this guy gets really big really quick, and it's a ninja, so it picks up all of your tribal benefits. Really, really good. We've also got 2 Nashi, Searcher in the Dark, 2/2 Menace, it's a ninja and it's a rat. It's almost Splinter, basically. But sometimes when it deals combat damage, you'll mill cards, and then you get to put a legendary or enchantment from among them into your hand. Sometimes you'll be able to pick up some of your legendary ninjas, which is nice. And then just 1 copy of Satoru the Infiltrator. Even though this doesn't have a ton of synergy with what the deck is doing, just having a 2/3 Menace that's a ninja for 2 mana that can pick up all of those tribal benefits is kind of worth it. That being said, it is legendary, and it's probably the least powerful card in the deck, so just 1 copy I think is fine. I would rather double up on some of the other better legendaries. Moving on to the 3-drop slot, we've got 1 Kaito Cunning Infiltrator, nowhere near as good as Bane of Nightmares, but still probably worth running 1 copy. I don't think you really need to go more than 1 copy. This is never a card that's good enough that you want to be stuck with a second one sitting in your hand, but it can come down on 3 and put in some work. It can spit out ninja tokens that will pick up all of your tribal benefits. It can make something unblockable and dig for cards. It can eventually maybe give you an emblem that spits out ninjas whenever your opponent casts a spell, which is nice. Or whenever any player casts a spell, including yourself. So I do think he's worth running. He's just nowhere near as good as Kaito Bane of Nightmares, and so I'm sticking to just 1 copy. We're also sticking to just 1 copy of Splinter Radical Rat. This card isn't super good in this deck. We don't have a ton of triggered abilities. That being said, it does pick up all of our ninja tribal benefits, and it still will double some of our triggered abilities, stuff like Super Shredder, stuff like Nashi hitting in and getting to like return things from the graveyard, stuff like that. And you have the optional ability here to just pay 2 mana, make target ninja unblockable, which most of the time you're going to have better things to do with your mana, and you kind of want your opponent to block your ninjas because your attacking force is so big you're probably just going to kill their stuff. But it is still nice to have access to this ability for situations where it's needed. Just 1 because it's a legendary. And then 1 Raph and Leo Sibling Rivals. You don't need red mana to run this because of the hybrid mana. Sometimes this will give you second combat phases with the ability to get even more value out of your creatures, which could end up being just nuts. I would rather run 1 Raph and Leo and 1 Splinter than 2 of either one of them, if that makes sense. And then we have 4 Adaptive Automatons, because you can name ninja, it'll come down, it will count as a ninja, pick up all of those tribal benefits, but also be another thing that buffs up all ninjas, which means we essentially have 12 anthems for ninjas. The 4 Adaptive Automatons, the 4 Kaitos that spit out anthems every single turn, and then the 4 Splinters. When you have that many anthem effects, something like the Last Ronin's technique just gets crazy really quick. This card is going to be nuts. It's nuts in a lot of other decks too. Sacrifice decks where you want to go wide, mobilize decks love this card. We're gonna use this in a bunch of decks moving forward. It's just that good. The mana base is very simple. We're just running 1 Cavern of Souls naming ninja for a little bit of uncounterability, 1 Soulstone Sanctuary to be an extra ninja, but for the most part we kind of just want to stick to our Esper lands that have a basic land type, and then verges because they're going to be the most efficient. We want to make sure we can curve out 1, 2, 3 drop and stay aggressive with our ninjas, so we don't want to play any tapped lands. and we want to make sure we have the right color mana for our spells that don't technically count as ninjas, like the Last Ronin technique and Kaito if we need to hardcast it, stuff like that. So Cavern of Souls isn't an end-all be-all, even though this is a ninja deck and we can name ninja. You do have to be a little bit careful not running too many cards like this. We need access to all 3 colors, and sometimes this stuff can slow you down, but I think one of each makes sense. This is the deck. If you want the entire deck list, it is in the description. I'm excited to iterate on this in the future, and there are more deck techs on the way, but let's dive into the games. Yeah, this looks fine. We have all the colors we need. We have enough lands. We'll start with Leonardo. The question is, do we play Nashi? Or do we Last Ronin? I think we probably want to play Nashi first, right? Yeah, I think we want a Nashi first. Just swing in for 2. We could have snuck out Leonardo, but then we didn't have anything to use 1 mana on because we didn't have a white left over. The white would have replayed this Leonardo, which would have been awesome. Fugitive Droid. Let's see, Adaptive Automaton. Now we'll go Satoru, swing, and then we'll do this, and we'll bounce, we'll gain some life. Now next turn we've got options. We can play Leonardo, we can sneak in the Last Ronin's technique, or we can drop the Adaptive Automaton. Since the Last Ronin's technique makes hasty ninjas, I actually think we wait to use this after we have the Automaton out already. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. So I feel like we want to go Ninja. And smash and gain some life. All of that feels pretty good. I assume he'll probably have removal for the Automaton. Burst Lightning or something. Clockwork Percussionist. Sure. Chrome Dome, how dare you? It's not bad. Gives it flying. It's not enough though. I guess we don't really have anything to use that mana on, huh? Sneak. Boom. Let's go. Gain some life. Put you at 3. Replace Satoru. We are eating good, fellas. Hey, what's up, Panthro? I've been really busy. Haven't had much time to stream. Hopefully that will change soon. But I've been really good. I got stranded at SCGCon Milwaukee. I had to rent a car and drive over 1,000 miles in a blizzard to get home. It was crazy. Krang. He finally played his Krang, but it's just not enough. Go Ninja, go Ninja, go. Aw, come on. Boo. Boo. This hand looks interesting. We'll try it out. Start with a Courtyard and a Prehistoric Pet. We'll go... Guess we only need that, right? And we'll get Leonardo in. Hit for a damage, gain a life. Put a counter on him. Seems pretty good. Drop the automaton next turn. Anti-negative. Be ambitious. Be ambitious indeed. Go ninja, go ninja, go. Smash. Gain some life, get a counter. Feeling pretty okay. Michelangelo, weirdness to 11. Makes all the sense in the world. Ooh, the last Ronin's technique. That is certainly something. That is certainly something. Do you think he will trade his 4/4 for our Leonardo? Cancel. White. Thank you. Really love if you would use it correctly. Smash. Let's go. Replay the Prehistoric Pet. Replay the Prehistoric Pet. We'll hold on to Leonardo, because if we top deck a land, we can sneak it. Boost up all of our dudes. It's probably just dead anyway. This last Ronin's technique, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good card. It's pretty good. Very 1337 of them. Good to see you, Brownie Man. Hey, speak of the devil. It's time to go. You're done for. Boom. Boom. Buff the boys. Get out of here. Went ninja went. Let's see, we've got no blue. So it would be what? Leonardo into Dark Leo and Shredder. We're not playing Kaito anytime soon, but this could line up pretty good. Let's do it. Let's do it. Alright, Godless Shrine. I mean, if we want to just sneak it back anyway, maybe it's actually better to play the Prehistoric Pet. There's a better chance it gets through for damage, so that we can sneak in Dark Leo and Shredder. Although now, I think I would rather do this. Get out Super Shredder first. Let's see, we could attack as a 2/2. Greater power. So here's what we do. We ninjutsu in Kaito. We bounce the Prehistoric Pet. We trigger the Super Shredder. Oh, Super Shredder has Menace. What am I doing, bro? What am I doing? Although I guess it's kind of okay to have a blocker to keep Kaito up. Yeah, you know what? I thought that was maybe a play mistake, and I did overlook it, so it very easily could have been. But in hindsight, I think having the blocker for Kaito is probably actually better. Probably actually better. I think I would rather Dark Leo, and Shredder. So let's get the emblem.
Just try to keep up.
Do we have a way to make something unblockable? Let me think. Can't be blocked. I could do it with this. I'd have to wait on the Dark Leo. I think that probably makes sense. I really want to sneak this in. I guess it's better to just do this though. Right?
Come on, Pom Pom John. We've got a fight to win. Found a way.
Discard a card. How dare you? We'll play Leonardo. And we'll attack with this guy. We will not attack with Super Shredder because he's got plenty of chump blockers.
Cool tech, right?
Two emblems. Two emblems is pretty wild. Two emblems is pretty wild. Mutagen Man with anything looks interesting, Dexter. Mutagen Man is just cracked. And I agree with you, Shell. Whenever you run up against those guys that don't use the new cards, it's weird. It's very weird. We got another fugitive droid. It's a lot of artifacts, man. Well, we'll definitely block some of them. We're live! Well, Super Shredder's about to be happy. Ooh, maybe we can actually win. Maybe we can actually win. Doesn't have a lot of blockers. Alright. We'll do this.
I just hate it.
Doesn't have haste though. Damn, I would have to wait a turn. I don't have a turn. Okay, that was a misplay. That was a misplay. It's fine though. So I guess doesn't really matter if we make something unblockable, does it? Unless we can make something leave the battlefield, which is possible. Super Shredder's unblockable, right? So we do this. Oh wait, we have to bounce an unblocked. Never mind. If only these guys had first strike, he would have got bigger first, and we would have hit for an extra 2 damage. We just need all of our creatures to have first strike. That's not too much to ask, right? Can't be. Can't be. Is this keepable? It is a very weird hand. We're gonna try it. What we want is for him to trade with one of our creatures early. So we can play the second one, right? And if that's the case, which one do we like better? We probably want to go Splinter because of the menace. Not only can we bounce it back easier with a sneak card, but we can replay it easier since it sneaks out for 1. All of that seems wonderful. So we probably want to sneak out the Leonardo, right? So we'll play this. And we'll do that. Sure. If we top deck a land, we can play the Automaton and sneak out a Splinter. Ninja. So we'll play Adaptive Automaton. We'll name Ninja. And we will swing. I mean, I kind of don't want to. Now I kind of don't want to. How awful is that? It's just better, I think, this way. We'll just play it. Do like food. Death touch, right? Attacking ninjas have death touch. I guess we just swing with everything then. Don't really want to, but let me think. Yeah, all of that is probably fine. I'd rather kill the 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐿. And then we'll just play this out. Welcome to my world, Carlo. Welcome to Oblivion. Another 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐿? Another 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐿, bro. Ninja vanish. Let's go. Go ninja, go ninja, go. Go, 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 go. Ninja, cardboard, crack. Ninja, cardboard, crack. Best token ever! Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck techs, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.